Hey kitties! So today I am going to be sitting down and talking with you guys about a very serious topic and an issue that is personal, and I've never ever discussed it on YouTube, and I've never even brought it up or even hinted at it in the slightest, because I kind of wanted to just avoid it at all costs. Like, why would I bring it up? Why would I talk about this? I'm not gonna mention it. But recently I have been thinking about it, and I was kind of just replaying it in my head and just thinking about it, and then I thought, why would I completely avoid this subject when it's such a serious issue and a serious topic, and that is going on all over the world, different ages, genders, it doesn't matter where you live. Child molestation, child abuse, sexual assault, rape is going on, and it's a major problem. And I just feel like I have such a big audience. Young girls, older girls, it doesn't matter. I just feel like this is such an important topic that I don't just want to be like, oh, I'm gonna ignore it and throw it off to the side for whatever reason. I just want to try to help. So first of all, what I'm gonna say is, if you are sensitive in any way to any sexual assault, rape, child molestation, or anything like that, please click out of this video right now, just in case you are a little bit sensitive, or if it triggers anything for you, please exit this video right now. For those of you who are sticking around, I do want to say that this video is intentionally for help purposes. I do not want sympathy. I don't want anyone to be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry that happened to you, or anything like that. I am doing this video because I see my subscribers, I see my views, I see how young, middle-aged, older, impressionable people that I have on my channel. I have such a big platform. I can do so much with that, and I do lots with that. However, I want to come here and raise awareness and help anybody who's either going through it, who may go through it, who have maybe seen it, who have experienced it themselves. So first off, what I want to say is, it is not your fault if this has ever happened to you in your past. If it's way back when, recently, it doesn't matter. It's not your fault, and I could give a shit what anyone says. It is not your fault. I don't care what the situation is. It's your body. You don't deserve to have things done to you that you don't want. So let me just go in and tell you guys my story. Again, click out if you are uncomfortable. So I was about 6 or 7, so I was a child. Keep that in mind, I was a child. I did not look like this. I did not have these boobs. I didn't have blonde hair or anything like that. Not that it matters. It's not like, oh, because you have boobs or blonde hair. But I just want people to know that I was not even developed. I was a 6-year-old little girl just living her life happily. We had neighbors living right obviously next door to us, and we shared a fence with them. A mom and a dad and a sister and a brother. The sister was 10 years old, so she was a bit older than me, and I loved hanging out with her because I could see the new girly trends. She would tell me about new things that were in school, what it's like to grow up. I just loved having my friends, and then this older friend that I was able to connect with. So I went over to her house quite a lot, and we just played and hung out and everything like that, and I just loved going over there and hanging out with her. And she had an older brother who was about 17 or 18 years old, and I never really talked to him or saw him or anything like that. And one day after playing with my friend, her parents came into her room and were like, Samantha, your parents are calling you, you have to go home now. I was like, okay. So I got up, and as I was going home, I was walking through their front yard, because you kind of have to our house was positioned weird, you couldn't really see our house from their house because there was a bunch of trees there. But in their front yard, in their driveway, they had a house, but in their driveway they had a trailer or something that you hook up to a vehicle and take with you if you're going camping. There was beds in there, and a seating area and a driver's seat, so if you're going camping you can bring this little hitch with you, so you have a little house or a shelter. Anyways, so that was just parked in the driveway for when they went camping. So I was just walking through the front yard, and her older brother said, hey, I want to show you something, come here. And at that age, I loved board games. That's what I went to her house to play, because she had the older girly board games, and my brother never really liked playing board games with me, so I was able to play with her. So that's what I played a lot there, was board games snakes and ladders and stuff. He's like, come in here, I have a board game that you really want to see. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think anything of it. Obviously, I'm 6 years old, I'm a child. So I go with him into the trailer. He shuts it and slides a lock. I thought that was a little odd, but then he says have a seat, and there's a little kitchen kind of. So we sit at it's a booth almost, and then there's a table, and he goes into the cupboard and gets 4-ish board games and puts them down and says which one's your favorite. And we were just just like looking at them, and I think we chose Candyland. A few minutes into playing, he pulls out his private area to me, and he's holding it in his hand and just holding it, sitting there staring at me, and I was shocked and stunned, and I didn't know what to do in that moment. Because as a child, was I told that it's wrong? No, I was never told that, you know, this is wrong or what to do in like that situation. And that's kind of why I'm making this video as well, is if you have children, or if you have brothers, sisters, younger brothers, younger nieces, cousins, let them know that this is wrong. These are children. They don't know, and they need to be told and shown and told that it's safe and okay, and you can tell me, and this is wrong for somebody to do to you. You don't deserve this. Seeing somebody's privates, somebody touching your privates, you touching their privates, or anything like that, that is no, that's a no-no. So I just wanted a side note of that. So he just basically has it in his hand, and he asked me if I've ever seen one of these before, and I just like stood there shocked, and I remember just being so confused. I can think back in my memory right now and just like picture me like just like confused, like what? Like we're playing a board game. Why? What? Like I'm just a little worried. I just knew something wasn't right, because his whole attitude just switched and changed, and then he started playing with himself, and he grabs my hand and starts making me touch him and help him out, if you will. And I am so confused, and I'm very uncomfortable, and I almost feel like I want to cry. And I try pulling back my hand, and he grabs it, pulls it back. He says to me, "Have you ever had sex before?" And at that age, I didn't know what sex was. I had no idea what sex was. I was 6 years old. I played with Ninja Turtles, Snakes and Ladders, and liked the Spice Girls. Like, I didn't know what sex was. And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Well, we're having sex. We're gonna have sex," or something like that, something along those lines. We never did have sex forcefully, non-forcefully, non-intentionally, no sex. It was all just done to him, but absolutely nothing was, sorry. What had happened was his mom came out to the trailer, like she was walking outside, like you can hear things pretty clearly when you're out there. So she was walking outside, and immediately he like jumped up, and as soon as he jumped up, I like ran to my house. Like I bolted to my house as quickly as I could. So it kind of just stopped there. I don't know what would have happened if his mom wouldn't have came out. I don't want to think like that. And that's one thing, is please don't think like what could have happened. If you are dealing with something right now, try to deal with that and try to help that as much as you can. Go talk to somebody if you can. And if you are dealing with this right now, if something is happening to you or your friend right now, you can get help. There's always somebody to talk to. If you don't have a close family friend, or you know, mom or dad, if you don't have somebody like that in your life at all, there is somebody who will care. The police, a teacher, a counselor, a bestie, a cousin, an auntie, somebody will care, and you do not deserve to have this happen to you. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you look like at all, if you're male or female. I do not care if it's your family who's doing this to you, a stranger, or if you are in a relationship with somebody who is sexually assaulting you. Nobody deserves this, and it is wrong. So I went home, and I didn't want to go see my friend anymore at all. When I was that age, I had a diary. So maybe that's why I like journaling so much. I don't know, but I had a diary back then, had a little lock on it, and I didn't do it that much, but occasionally I did write a few things in there or drew some pictures in there. But I did write a little thing in there, and I put it in my diary. I just kept it on my dresser. And I remember this also distinctively. My mom had my uncle over just for like coffee or chilling or whatever they were doing, and I was again the same age, and my mom and my uncle were in the kitchen having coffee, and then my mom calls me into the kitchen. "Samantha, come in here please." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I walked in, and this was about, I would say, a few weeks after this incident, or that incident had occurred. So I walk in, and my mom says, "Can you tell me what this is?" And I said, "That's my diary." And she had my diary out in the open to the page that I had wrote that day when I came home. And what I had wrote in my diary was his name, and I don't want to say his name. His name and me had sex. That's basically all it said. We had sex. Me and him had sex. We did not have sex. There was no anything like that. It was just me touching him. Still wrong, still horrible, still should have never happened, but we never had sex. That goes to show you that is so sad when I think about it, because I was so young at the time, I didn't even know what sex was. So I thought that was sex because he told me like we were having sex or we were gonna have sex, and it was like happening, and I was very worried about it and, you know, just irked about it. So I went home and I just wrote that in my journals, like we had sex, even though I had no idea what it was. So my mom said, "Why did you write this? What is sex, Samantha?" And she looked right at me. My uncle was looking at me. I don't know if he was there because she found the journal or if like she found it when he was there. I don't know. But anyways, maybe she needed help to deal with the situation. But I said, "I don't know." And she said, "What is sex, Samantha?" And I said, "I don't know." And it was legitimately, I had no idea what that was. And she kept asking me and like, "Why would you write that then if you don't know what that is?" And then I said, "No, it's 6. We did 6 things together. We had 6 things." It was like we played hopscotch and we did this and this and this, and I was like explaining her to like 6 things or 6 random things that I was lying about. Basically after that it was like okay, and I shouldn't have felt scared to tell my mom what had happened. And I love my uncle, and like my mom was, you know, trying to do everything right and like trying, you know, like literally like interrogating me like, "Why'd you write this? What is this?" Like she was trying to ask me, and I could have just said like, "Mommy, like he's touching me, like he did this to me," and like that actions would have been dealt with, right? But in that state, and you're just scared. I was so scared, and I don't know why, because my mom would have never been mean to me. She would have got that done in a second. Holy crap, like she would have got that shit dealt with. But I was scared. I was embarrassed. I thought I was gonna get in trouble, like, because in the back of my head I knew it was wrong because I didn't feel right about it, but I thought because it was wrong that I would be in trouble for it. Just so young. That's so sad. I thought because I was doing something wrong or I didn't feel right about it, and like when his mom came out it was like, oh my god, oh my god. I thought because of that I would be in serious trouble because it was so wrong and I was doing something wrong, and now I'm gonna get in trouble for doing something wrong. So I didn't say anything. And this is where I'm here to tell you, girls and boys, if something is happening to you, don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Stand up, tell somebody who cares, tell somebody who's gonna get it done. And if somebody doesn't get it done, tell somebody else. Somebody will. There's always kids help phone, but you can always phone the police line and talk to them, or go in there and talk to somebody, a teacher, a principal, a counselor. Somebody will care and somebody will be there to help you. Please don't be afraid. I know it's so hard to just be like, don't be afraid, but nobody deserves this to happen to them. Like I went to her house probably like every day or every so often on the weekends and such, and I never went back there. And she came to my door, was like, "Hey, I'm having a sleepover with all my girlfriends," because I think it was her birthday or something like that. She was having a sleepover, and she said, "A bunch of us are over. Do you want to come and play a game with us?" And I was like a little bit hesitant. My dad was at the door with me, and it was just her, no friends or anything. And I said, "Okay." So she's like, "Come over after supper then." I was scared and timid, and right then and there I could have told my dad too, but I was just so scared. And I liked her. I still liked her. Nothing against her at all. Like I don't think she would know what was going on or anything like that. So I said, yeah, I would come over. Not for the sleepover. Like I was just gonna come over and play games for like an hour or so and then come home. So I went over there, went into her room. I never saw her brother, and they were playing Girl Talk, which is such an old school game. And I don't know if they were playing it right or anything like that, but what they did was they took a card. I don't know how I remember this so vividly, like all these little scenarios, like seeing my mom's reaction to the journal. Like I can still hear it in my head. I can like see my uncle's mustache still, like to this day. And this was a long time ago. Like I don't remember much from like 6 or 7, but I remember these so vividly. I was just like watching the game, watching them play it, and then they would choose cards, and it was like a little scenario, and they would read it, and each of them would answer in a row or in a circle. So one of the cards was, what boy do you have a crush on? What boy do you like or something? And they were going around the room and like, ooh, John, hi, Jacob, Jingleheimer Schmidt, like all this around the room. And it came to me, and I said, I don't know, because I didn't like boys then. I was 6 years old, okay? But they, you know, they weren't being mean. They were just kind of like, they knew I was younger and I was like 6. So they were kind of just like joking with me and playing with me, not meanly or anything, but they were like, ooh, what boys do you like? And, oh, do you like my brother? And she said, do you like my brother? And she said his name. And would you ever kiss him? And as soon as she said that, I burst out in tears and I just started crying and I was like holding myself and I remember just like hugging myself and just crying, and all of them, I remember their faces being like, what the hell? And I was just crying and I ran home. And I ran home bawling, and my dad went, what is wrong, Samantha? And I said, I never want to go back there. And he goes, what happened? And I wouldn't tell him. I just said that they were being mean to me, which they weren't being mean to me. I just started crying and he was holding me and said it was all right, and that was it. I never saw him ever again, not even like throughout the yard or anything. Ever since then, when I went out to play in my yard, I would always be looking up and be looking around me, and I couldn't just go out in my yard and play freely. He really like took a place out of my life, and it's not like he was like 6 years old with me. He was like 17 or 18. He knew what he was doing. He knew very well. He knew that I was young and where I lived, who my mom and dad were. I don't know who he is to this day. I know people might ask that. I have no idea who he is. That was the last time I ever saw him. Nothing was done about it because I didn't speak up. So like nothing. I literally just recently told my mom, because like I told you guys at the beginning of this video, I was just recently thinking about it and bringing it up in my mind, and I told Dalton, I was like, this is what happened to me when I was younger. You know, I'm just glad that I do have such great family and friends who I can like talk to these things about and just be so open and honest. But it's always just been in the back of my mind. It's really sad to think about. If you know somebody who is going through it, please try to get them help. And you are beautiful. You are gorgeous. I still get flashbacks from time to time. Maybe that is why I get anxiety nowadays. Like I do have a struggle with anxiety, real note. Like I do have anxiety. It's not a laughing and joking matter, even though, you know, I make my life joking and laughing like, oh, like I get such bad anxiety. Like I do. I have anxiety, and that's probably from that and from a few other things that happened in my past. But you are not alone. There is somebody out there who will help you. And I just want to tell you guys, because I have such a large audience, and if this can even help one person, I would just be forever grateful. If this can even help one person get out of such a bad situation and to know that it is not your fault. So I hope my story can help somebody else. That's all I'm hoping from this video. And just raising awareness. If you're just like, you know, like a teen right now and have never been through it or never knew anyone who has been through it, maybe in the future, if you have a child, just have this in the back of your mind to let your children know that this is wrong. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. This is a very serious topic, and I hope that it may help somebody. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye guys!